Hey sis, it's your girl Jay Searcy, founder of Black Girls in Real Estate. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 3. I am so excited, y'all. Guess who I have on today? I have my mama in the building. We made this girly slumber party-ish because guess what? This one is called Dear Boo. Dear Boo, we gonna talk about the men. We're going to talk about the partner edition today, okay? So I thought this would be super fun, bringing us around the couch, and we're just going to girl talk, okay? All right, so let's pop this off. So, Adrian, you've been married to my best friend for like 20 years. You guys have one of my favorite marriages. How do you balance and make it work being married with 5 kids, entrepreneur, he's building his business, and we are doing all the things in real estate? Spill the tea. How does this work?
So let me start by saying this. In my earlier years of entrepreneurship, I did not do that well, and I did not know how to balance. And we were laying in the bed one night having pillow talk, and he said, "You're going to have a lot of money, but you're not going to have a family." And I was like,
oh, I don't heard that.
I'm like, dang, I really need to get this together. And we really just started communicating more about like what I wanted to do, what my goals were, what his goals were. And now it's like we just a team. Whatever he does, like, he's a fitness trainer and he does online coaching. And, I was flying out to Atlanta and he needed me to log into the system. He was like, then that's my partner. And I got off that flight. I logged right in there. I was like, you in there? Okay, good. And then when I made it to where I needed to be, he called, do you have everything you need? So it's really just supporting one another and being a support. And like when I have my days, he like, look, you got this. What do you need me to do? He'll literally wake up and start cleaning everything. Don't worry about cleaning. I got it today. Because he knows the type of week I've had. So I really feel like it's really about just knowing who you're with. And where they're weak, where they're strong, and you being that. Because it's going to be times where he's weak in certain areas. And I got to step up and be strong.
So true.
And the same for me.
I agree. I think it's a balancing act, right? Like, I know for myself, when I first started building my business, I built my business off my husband's couch. Like, I was unemployed. So he gave me the space. I remember one day he told my dad, he was like, well, she doesn't have to work. I got her. And my dad was like, flatline. Like, don't tell her that. Don't tell her that. But it really allowed for me and gave me the space and the time that I needed to build and to create and to, just feel free to do it. I never had that before in regards to not having to work, right? And that time freedom to really build my business. And so it's definitely been, in my opinion, like a juggling act, right? Like sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him. But I think the main thing, like you said, it's the focus of partnership. It can't be like one partner is outweighing and controlling the other.
True. Absolutely.
I mean, I haven't worked a job in over 10 years. And he literally said, focus on what you want to do. And I got this. I'm going to work and I'm going to do my stuff on the side. I'm going to be okay.
That's
so just focus on what you want to do.
That's dope.
That's wonderful.
That is. Mom, okay. You've been married. How old am I? I'm 38, so me plus 1, isn't it? So y'all been married almost 40 years?
This July.
Okay. 40 years of marriage. And the first 21 years of my life that I can remember, you were a stay-at-home mom.
That's correct.
And then all of a sudden, she popped out and was like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm opening up my tutoring center, Masters Plus. Like, I was like, oh, whoa. It was like so crazy because it's like super mom, then now it's super woman. How has that been, with you and dad? Like, he's been corporate. Like, there's so many just adjustments and changes. How has that been for you?
It's been a roller coaster. We're very lucky. We support one another, much like Adrian was saying. It's all about the communication. One thing that we established very early on in our marriage was something called the State of Our Union. And so that is a biweekly talk that we have every Friday. And we just kind of check in. Hey, where are you? How are you feeling? How's things going? What can I do better? What's going bad for you and what's going good for you? And so when I did take on that journey of being a full-time mom for those 21 years, it was hard at first because I had been accepted to one of the most prestigious MBA programs in the country. And I kept pausing and sending in, like, just give me a little bit more time. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And then you came along. And once I saw your lovely face, I knew I was destined to stay home. So, we made that commitment. My husband traveled. We lived in a neighborhood where he did not want us to move. And so my husband traveled to New York, to Boston, all kind of cities, as you know, just to make sure that we stayed stable. Yeah. And so during that time period, I was very active in the community. Little did I know at the time that community activism, if you will, put me in front of so many parents. Mm-hmm. So then when Janine went away to college, my son was like pretty much a senior in high school and my daughter was going into high school. I said, okay, now's my time. So I opened this tutoring business. Well, everybody knows me. I had helped many of their friends, helped them with their math in the evening. So it was so seamless. It was like it was destined that way. Mm-hmm. And so now he's retired and I'm working crazy. and again, it's still like that. It's never 50-50. It's 100 of who you are and it's 100 of who he is. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's 25 for you and 75 for him and vice versa. So that's how we made it work. And I think we're doing pretty good. 40 years.
40 years. 40 years.
I'm 40 this year.
Right. My whole life I've been with you.
Yeah.
Jazz.
Yeah.
You've been doing this.
Yeah. My story is a lot different, but it's interesting how it all ends up as the same because I was married, of course, before for 11 years. And during that entire time, my parents also, they've been 51 years of marriage this year. So that's all I've seen, right? Is that commitment, that teamwork. My dad's been doing this his whole life. My mom's teamed up. With my ex-husband, he's a business genius. Anybody, he's met millionaires and they're like, you are a genius. But for some reason, we could never get it together. He couldn't understand partnership. And that's what I was looking for. Yes. I've always been the type of person, like I told y'all before, that I've always been an entrepreneur. So for me, my mind go from here. If that didn't work, I'm going somewhere else. If that didn't work, we're going to find it until I get it. But for him, when I found this thing, construction, it was like he couldn't partner with me. He was against me. And I kept trying to fight it. And then when everything went down and I felt like God gave me the peace to say, you can leave now. And I left. I thought, I'm never going to find that. That does not even exist. I guess it was in my dad. And that was the last I know of. That doesn't exist. Yeah. And literally a year later, KB came into my life and I found what I had been looking for 11 years. Wow. That partnership, that person that says, I got your back, that person that says, you lead in this area and I'll lead in this area. Whichever area we're stronger at, we lead there. And ultimately, we're all doing it for the benefit of each other. So I totally agree. It's almost impossible to be done without some type of partnership or there's going to be that friction and it's just going to weigh on you.
Yes. So. Yes.
What about you, Colleen? Because you're dating, girl. You got you a cutie. Okay. You got you a cutie. It's cute.
Cutie for a cutie.
I would agree. It's going good. The thing about my time single is that I have dealt with different guys dating, right? Singly. I'm not trying to say anything other than that. But all have appreciated and pushed me to pursue my dreams. So I've always had some form of partnership, but with who I'm with now, there is a partnership in that we push each other and we support each other in our individual goals. Nice. So I don't feel inhibited or like I can't do a certain thing or I shouldn't do a certain thing.
That's important.
And in fact, I feel good with even consulting with him as well, asking for advice. And I think that's needed too, right? Because sometimes if you have different...
sound ear.
Yeah, a sound ear. But then also for them to also feel needed in where you are, right? That's part of the support. Inclusiveness.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. I think when you include them into a lot of times, we get so wrapped up in our own space because we know we have the ups and the downs. But when you include them into where you are, they can not only help you out, but like you were saying about Eric, like when I'm having that bad time, like seriously, I don't touch clothes in our house. My husband cleans all of the clothes. That's not my forte, but then he doesn't cook. That's my forte. I'm going to make sure we eat. And so just finding that balance of
Partnership.
what works, you know?
Yeah.
So
I love that too. I have a disdain. It's very difficult for me when I see women in our industry that are trying to build, that are trying to make money, that are trying to make a name and a brand for themselves, not be supported by their partners.
Yes.
And it's almost gut-wrenching when you're seeing a woman who deserves it all, like hardworking, ambitious, smart, doing all the things. And the partner's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, well, if that's not making money today, then you can't go. Not understanding that oftentimes real estate is tomorrow money.
Yes,
right.
that is so
Right?
good.
It's not
That is so
always
good.
today.
Yeah.
And so you have to have that partner that is willing to champion you, that's willing to support you, that's willing to see you, go up and down. The studying.
Yes.
The CEs, the
Right.
passing the exams and still holding you down while you're
Right.
studying for all these different licenses
Yeah.
and all of that. Like, it has to be collaborative because if it feels like you're at war when you don't
Yeah.
have
You are.
somebody. You really
are
are.
at
It's
war.
like,
Yeah,
it's like you're
you are
fighting
at
for
war.
your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you see where you're trying to get to.
Right.
You can see it vividly, but you have somebody that's holding you back, telling you, no, it's not your time. You need to focus
Right.
on the kids. You need to focus on the house. You need to do this. No one's going to support you. Your background is this. How are they going to see you as that? It's like, you don't know what God has for
Right.
me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I hear so many women and they're like, well, I had to convince my husband and get him on board and all these things. And it's like, I find myself feeling like I don't ever really had to convince my husband. I feel like we talk about
Yeah.
things.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It's a conversation
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, show me, why do you want to do this? Did you look at this? Did you look at that? Because I'm way more like spontaneous.
Yeah.
Nick, financial advisor, planner.
He's a planner.
There's been times, and he did this to me recently. He asked me 5 questions that were they just made so much sense. I said, don't even worry about what I just asked you about.
Exactly. That is so mean.
And it was
Shut
like
it
the
down.
questions
Yes.
shut me down because I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Right.
It's like, never mind.
Yeah. But I love that though.
But
I
you
love
need to
that.
compliment
Instead of
one
just
another.
saying like, no, this ain't gonna work. You're saying, okay, let's think through this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But
All right, so did you consider this? Did you consider this? And as you start processing through, it's like, oh, you know what? Let me hold on.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like, oh no, for me it was a never.
Oh, okay.
But you got to understand personality type.
Yeah.
And what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like within our marriage community, we did a personality test.
Okay,
and
I love what you just said. Marriage community.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Friend, what is this?
You need a marriage coach.
You do.
You need
You
somebody
do.
that can help you navigate through life. Like every day is not going to be a good day.
Yeah.
There are going to be seasons when you go through hard times. Like when my husband lost his mom, that was a hard season.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this? I don't even think I know this man anymore.
Wow.
But he was
Yeah.
grieving and going through different
Yeah.
things. And sometimes you need a third party that can come in and say, hey,
yeah.
it's you.
Yeah.
You might want to look at yourself. I'm like, oh man, it maybe it is me.
Right. That's
and so
beautiful.
within
That's
that,
great.
knowing the personality types, like I'm a turtle.
I'm
And
like, what are you, friend?
I'm a turtle.
What's that mean?
So I go in my shell and
retreat.
but I balance between
hold on.
between a chameleon and a turtle, right?
Oh,
A chameleon
wow.
kind of blends in
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
can kind of go with the flow, more organized
Seems
and
very accurate.
meticulous,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was thinking. That's
But my
pretty
husband is a gorilla.
Yeah.
That man is
Yeah.
aggressive. He
Yeah.
gonna do what he wanted.
Yeah.
And so now we can't communicate the same way to one another because we're different. But if you don't know that about your spouse, you don't know the love language, you don't know any of that, then you
Right.
just doing whatever you want to do.
Right.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
not about you when you're in a relationship.
Right.
That's
It,
true.
it should be about you, though. I kind of disagree with that. It has to be about both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But understanding one another, like you said.
Yeah,
But
that's-
and I love what you said about the community as well. We didn't have a formal, like the one that you're speaking of, but we had like a marriage council, we like to call it ourselves. But we were more like doing recreational stuff. Every month we would do wine tours. There were 30 of us. All have been married. The criteria for joining this group was that you had been married for 15 years or more.
Oh, wow.
And
now
so
they blocking out
Seasoned.
all of us. You have to use this with a little lemon pepper.
You know what? Baby, don't forget it.
But that seasoning there is important for your marriage. Just
Yeah.
around your
Absolutely.
marriage.
Yeah.
Well, even for men need to see other men
Right.
being committed in a relationship,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like women do
Yes.
too. And so we have those conversations. What does that look like? How do you show up? And so I love what you said. It's important, and for you to be so young to know that, I'm so impressed.
It's my parents. They've been
Yes.
together forever.
Yeah.
Very good.
And so I model them. I like their marriage and how they
Yeah.
communicate with one
Yeah.
another and support each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
The support factor is just such a big deal. It's like as you're building your business and as you're building your name, it pulls you in so many different directions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And someone has to see that, you're working towards a bigger goal and
Yes.
give you that grace and that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And just know if you are really equally partnered or yoked, it's probably going to happen on your side too, because he's going to want to
Absolutely.
do something
Right.
at some
Yeah.
point,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So just being aware that like, okay, this is my season. I need the support in
Yes.
this season. And then when it's your turn and it's time for me to turn back around and do it, I will do that for you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. No, I want to just throw this out here because I know that we could talk about it, needing the support. But the reality is, like for me, for 11 years, I didn't have it.
Same.
So what are some ideas or some thoughts on how do you still make it happen? Because I still made it happen. I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years, and 5 or 7 of it was when I was with him, when he said no. I had challenges, but what are some thoughts, around that? Like, how do you still do this when you don't have
When
this?
you don't
Well,
have
how
the
did you do
support,
it?
I think it's like what
Yeah.
you just said. You
Yeah.
choose yourself.
Yeah.
And you make the decision like, I have to build my legacy. I have to build my wealth, or
Yeah.
my legacy and what I have might die.
Yeah.
It's that serious. Like,
Yeah.
that's why when people are like, girl, you never sleep. Oh, girl, you're always working. I work because I want to have wealth. I want to leave wealth to my daughter, to my family. And I'm doing this so that she can live a great life too one day when I'm no longer here. I want to
Right.
prep my future, my legacy for
Facts.
the day that Janine may not, no longer be with us. So
Yeah.
I want other women to feel empowered
Yes.
to do their journey as well.
Yep.
And not just to watch from a sideline or just watch from social media,
Yeah.
but choose
Yeah.
yourself.
Choose
Yeah,
yourself.
I think that is important to choose yourself. Like you said, how did I do it? I think that's what I did. I had to understand that, we're going to argue anyway. So we might as well argue.
We're going to argue about this
We
one
gonna
and I'm going
argue-
to
exactly.
make this decision.
And I'm still going to make this decision, not trying to be rebellious or anything. But once I had a clear understanding, you have no faith in me. You're not going to move forward on something that I know in my gut that I am supposed to do. Then I had to just make the decision to say, I'm going to do this anyway. And we'll see where we go. And I went from poverty, like literally, we could not even pay $500 a month in rent. And that is no lie.
Wow.
End up getting put out of there. And then I said, enough is enough. I grew up very privileged.
Well, that's one thing I was going to tell you too. That maybe what happened is you just outgrew him.
Yeah.
Because that happens in a love relationship
Yeah.
as well. Sometimes you meet when you're really young, or you meet when you're in a season that you're
Right.
maybe that's not thinking really clearly, and you're like, 5 years down the road, this is not working for me.
Right.
And you can outgrow someone.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what happened with you too.
Yeah, I definitely know that to be true. Yeah.
And that's
then
so
I just
raw. Like, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that
Oh,
with us too,
absolutely.
because that's going to motivate and help other women too, right? It's like everybody has a story and a background, and it's
Yes.
important to be transparent. So
Yes.
that other women, they'd be like, oh, wow, look at what she's doing. Look at all that she's
Right.
accomplished. But guess what? This is where I started at. It wasn't always good.
No.
It's all about the people in your life too.
Yeah.
And knowing the seasons. Like you just said, you were a stay-at-home mom and you had some goals and some dreams you wanted to accomplish, but you knew what that season was and you had to be there for your children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a stay-at-home mom and I felt like I was dying on the inside. I'm like, I want to be outside.
Yeah.
I see everybody else doing what they want to do, and but I had an older friend. I have a lot of older friends, and she said, Adrian, right now in this season,
Yes.
your job is to be a mom,
Yeah.
Yes.
and to raise your children in the right way, lead and guide them,
Yes.
and then your time is going to come, and you're going to see when it comes. And
Right.
she was right. When
Yes,
when the
absolutely.
opportunity presented itself, I was ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 3. Listen, some of your gems and takeaways: partnership,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Being true to who you are, following your heart and your passion, and making sure that you and your partner are doing this thing together.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and share this, and we'll see you on episode number 4.
Yay, bye.